man is back.
Oh, my gosh, the ring got messed up. This is a 5 out of freaking 5.
It is beat making time.
Next week is E3 week. My album comes out next week.
I have delivered.
This is your boy.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash the True Inferno. Back at it with another Call of Duty Modern Warfare for you guys. Yes. So, here's a little bit of interesting news. We got some football news going on here. Earlier today, as I'm recording this, Tuesday, March the 17th, Tom Brady is not coming back to the New England Patriots. So he will be going to another team, but we don't know what that team is yet. So it's a toss-up between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the San Diego Chargers, possibly the Indianapolis Colts, possibly the, what they call now, the Las Vegas Raiders, maybe the Denver Broncos, who knows? No one knows. Well, we know Tennessee is not on the list since they re-signed their quarterback. We know Dallas is not an option for the most part. We know Chicago is not an option since they re-signed their quarterback. So we don't know where Tom Brady's going to go, but it's very interesting. He's been with the Patriots since, if I remember correctly, 1994. If I saw that correctly. I could be wrong on that, but man, he's been with the Patriots for a long time. So for him to leave like that, it's like mind-boggling, really. I saw it. I was shocked to see it. Now, that's not the main, even though that's big news, that's not the main thing I want to talk about here. What I want to talk about here is the new collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, has been approved by the players. So, and I was kind of shocked at this too. So what happened is they were given an offer where there would be 17 games in a season, more teams making the playoffs, and while the players would get either 47 or 48% of the more revenue that's coming in, the owners would still get more, like around, 53 to 52% of it. And there's other stuff in there as well. And when the players voted, the majority of them says yes, but it was not by much. It was like 1,019 of them says yes, 959 says no, and there was some that didn't even vote at all, which is kind of dumb. But that's beside the point. And apparently this is going to be for 11 years instead of 10 years. So here's the deal. So basically the whole expansion of the playoffs will start this upcoming season, assuming we have a season, but you get the point. So basically how it works is this. If you've been following the NFL, you know that 12 teams make the playoffs, 6 per conference. So you got your 4 division winners and your 2 wild cards. Now what they're doing is they adding, if memory serves it correctly, 2 more teams, giving it a grand total of 14 teams in the playoffs. So that means 7 teams per conference will be making the playoffs. So now what that also means is also in the old race where there were 6 teams, there would be 2 buys. So if you had the #1 seed in your conference, you get a first round bye. If you had the second best record in your conference, aka the #2 seed, you get also a first round bye. Well, that's not the case no more, because if you get the #1 seed now, you would get the first round bye, and you would be the only team in your conference to get a first round bye. So if you got the second best record, guess what? You're going to be playing the wild card weekend now from this point going forward. You don't get a bye. So yeah, that's why the #1 seed will be extremely important now, more so than ever. It's pretty crazy if you ask me. It's really, really crazy if you ask me. So yeah, there you go with that. So if we recall the playoffs last year, remember if we look at the playoffs last year and use this format, here's what would happen. Looking at the NFC, the 49ers, who had the #1 seed and made it all the way to the Super Bowl, would get the first round bye. They would be the only ones to get the first round bye. The second seed, the Green Bay Packers, who got a first round bye last year, would have played in the first round. The Saints would have played as the 3 seeds. The Eagles would play as the 4th seed. They would take on the 5th seed Seahawks. The Saints would take on the 6th seed Vikings, which is nothing new. That's what has legit happened last year. But here's where things would have been different if this playoff format would have taken effect last year. The Rams would have made the playoffs, and they would have went on the road to take on the Packers. Now in the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens were got a first round bye, which is not new since that did happen. But here's where things are going to get different. The 2nd seed Kansas City Chiefs will be in action in the first round, taking on the 7th seed Pittsburgh Steelers. That would have happened again if the new playoff format took place last year. And of course, the number 3 seed Patriots would still take on the number 6 Titans, and the number 4 seed Texans would still take on number 5 seed Bills. So, yeah, there you go with that. Now, if they use the same format where the lowest seed advancing would take on the number 1 seed, it would come down between the two conferences. It would come down to if the 7th seed Rams and or Seahawks can defeat the 2 seed Chiefs and or Packers. So, for example, if the Rams beat the Packers in the NFC, then in the second round, it would be the 49ers taking on the Rams, and it would be the Vikings Saints winner taking on the Seahawks Eagles winner. Now, for example, let's say the Packers beat the Rams, but who won that? Oh yeah, the Vikings still beat the Saints, and the Seahawks still beat the Eagles. Then now the Vikings will go and face the 49ers, and if I remember correctly, yeah, the Packers will face the Seahawks. Yeah. So again, the lowest seed emerging from the wild card weekend will take on the number 1 seed in the divisional round. So I'm assuming that format still stays the same, but it's very interesting now. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like it because I would, I can get used to it, but I like to see 2 teams with first round bye because it give you more of a center in terms of why you should get the number 2 seed. With this format, the number 2 seed is pretty much worthless. It's like you're going to have home field advantage until you make it to the conference finals. So, and that's pretty much it. And there's no first round bye for the number 2 seed. So I didn't like that one. I didn't like that at all. Now, let's look at the 17 games per season. So that won't take effect right away. It would take effect either in the 2021 season, between the 2021 season to the 2023 season. So that's when it will start. Because they still have to figure out, who the 17th team everybody would be playing, and would there be more bye weeks and stuff like that? Who would have home field? How would that work? And blah, blah, blah. And things of that nature. So, like I said, because of this deal, everybody would get more money. The players will get more money, and the owners will get more money. But between the two, the owners will get slightly more money, which is another thing I don't like, because the owners don't do anything. It's the players who are putting their bodies on the line for the owners to just sit back and chill and just make money off of that. Like, I don't like that at all, but whatever. Now, it also means that, because of the system, lower earning players will get more money because there's a lot of minimum salary deals out there. So they will be able to make more money, which is good. I have no problem with that. And let's see. There will be more roster spots as well. So, remember, in case you don't know, the game day active roster was at 46. Now, it would be increased to 48, although one of the extra players must be an offensive lineman, which will give teams more flexibility to have 3 extra linemen. Practice squads will expand from 10 players to 12 players in 2020 and 2021, and to 14 players starting in 2022. So that means more players can make the practice squad, which is cool. Oh, and this is also cool too. Practice squad salaries will also go up. So the minimum is $8,000 per week with the current CBA, and it will raise to $11.5 thousand per week by 2020. And those players will be eligible for 401k and tuition assistance benefits, which is pretty cool. Now, 2 practice squad players per week may be elevated to the team roster, meaning game week roster sizes could effectively increase from 53 to 55, and a player elevated from practice squad to the 55-man roster could be sent back to the practice squad 2 times without having to clear waivers. So that's interesting. Now, here's something else that was kind of swept under the rug, and let me find it real quick. Oh, yeah, here we go. They made changes to the drug policy because we all know with the NFL, they have issues involving marijuana, a.k.a. the weed, a.k.a. you got Stephen A. going, stay off the weed. Well, they made some changes to the drug policy. The new CBA will eliminate suspensions for positive marijuana tests, limit the testing period to the first 2 weeks of training camp, and raise the threshold of a positive test from 35 to 150 nanograms of THC. The idea is to focus the drug program on clinical care as opposed to punishment. Basically, if you test positive, your test gets reviewed by a board of joint appointed medical professionals to determine whether you need any kind of treatment. The NFLPA, Players Association, deal memo also says that, and I quote here, violations of law for marijuana possession generally will not result in suspension. So that's very interesting. All right, and let's see. Will the commissioner still be judge, jury, and executioner on the discipline policy? And it sounds like a no. The new deal will provide neutral arbitration for most discipline cases, including personal conduct policy violations. And the NFLPA memo says the deal carries, and I quote, significant reductions, end quote, in club fines and on-field player fines. This has been a point of contention amongst players who have felt the discipline and appeals process has been unfair, since the people in charge of imposing the discipline have been the ones who hear the appeals. That will no longer be the case in most discipline matters, according to the memo. So, yeah, there you go with that. And, like, there's some good to the CBA, but the two things that got me is 17-game seasons and no first round bye for the second seed. Those are the only two things that I didn't like about the new CBA. I like the fact, and the fact that the players are making less than the owners. Like, they get less of the revenue than the owners. Those are the three things that I don't like about the CBA. You could say those are the main things about the CBA, the new one. But looking at it, it's not bad. You know, it's okay. So, I mean, like I said, the majority of the players voted yes. So, you know, I guess it's not all that bad. And again, those who didn't vote, something wrong with those guys, without question. All right, so that's my thoughts on the new CBA, and I'm going to call it a wrap. So with all that said, y'all know who this is. This is boy New J Gatsby, a.k.a. New Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.